I think I faced quite a few obstacles when I was starting off at university. You know, like student finance, if they were going to give me funding for the whole 3 years. It took a lot of risks to go through the first year of uni, to not know that you were going to get funding or not. And yeah, in my second year of uni, I had to deal with all my house difficulties. I had a leak under my floor. After having a leak under my floor, it was mayhem just to get it sorted out. So I had all that pressure. And then after that, I ended up getting sick, so I had an operation. So yeah, it was a really crazy time for me. And I'm dyslexic, so I was getting all this ESA stuff, this extra help, but because of this whole issue about, you know, not getting finance in the first year, I wasn't able to sort those plans out in terms of getting the help I needed.
I looked at my life and I saw it was broken. Everything inside me has never been spoken. Even if I tried, no one would understand me. All my whole life I never had a plan B. Only ever wanted a picture perfect family. Never could have happened cause I never had a daddy. It was hard for my mum cause she couldn't cope. Went straight into care. Trust it ain't no joke. At a point in my life I lost all hope cause all I could see was the end of the rope.
We initially thought that our conversations with young people with care experience would give them a voice. But what was very apparent very quickly is they already have a voice. And what was less clear was who was listening and how. And so our research became, how do we take that voice and share it with the adult professionals who have power to change the system? We use headphone or recorded delivery verbatim, where we ask the participants to interview each other using a smartphone or an audio device. We then generate material that is performable.
The performer is listening, so the original interview is coming into their ears, and as they're listening, they listen very, very hard, and just 1 or 2 seconds afterwards, they speak exactly the same words as were recorded on the interview originally, and they try as much as they can to respect every single word and the way that the original speaker said them. And to do that, an incredibly concentrated effort, intense listening is really required. So for somebody watching this performance, you're seeing somebody listening and paying respect and honouring the original words of the speaker.
The Verbatim Formula is practice research in applied theatre. One of the elements of that practice research is what we've been calling the portable testimony service.
We take the testimonies that we've gathered from our verbatim theatre practice out into different situations, into offices or conferences or forums or seminars, and we use them to create dialogue or to help to train staff in the care system or in the university.
So instead of inviting those staff to come to the theatre and become an audience, we took our performers to their offices.
Young people's voices, the sounds of their voices are filling those office spaces and making adults listen. So it's all about breaking those routines and using affect and emotion to intervene in working practice.
Yeah, because we're quite emotional, you know. It takes a lot to make, you know, they stand up, you know, it takes a lot to get me emotional.
I was emotional, like, doing it. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, because you've lived it. And when we've listened, it made me listen not only with my ears but my heart. So
was that what you were listening to? That was a testimony from somebody else.
And I'm sort of portraying it. And it moved me. I'm like, wow, this is a lot of experience people have went, and it's pretty tough. That nothing is as smooth and easy.
And what we all take for granted is not necessarily there for people.
The practice we use invites them to not just engage cognitively with this and think, yeah, it's tough in care, it must be really awful. Not to just be sympathetic, but it opens channels of empathy.
When they hear those stories, they have the opportunity to find out how difficult people's lives may have been and may still be. When the young people become students and they live at university and they're working at university, sometimes these problems are still going on in their lives. And so for adults, it's an opportunity to understand more clearly just how complex and difficult those situations can be, and therefore to be able to change their working practices in ways that are going to be helpful and supportive for those young people.
Realised very early is that this needed to be 360 degree. We couldn't just collect the testimonies of young people, care experienced young people, and foist them on the adults that work with them. We had to gain testimonies from all of the stakeholders in this process, from the foster carers, from the social workers, from the teachers, from the university staff.
So as I said, the testimonies that you've heard are true, but the people speaking them, they are not their own stories. Some of the rest of our fellow co-researchers would love to come and speak to you now about what you've heard, and where in your roles within a university you can see what would be possible for the university to consider, to reconsider, to potentially adjust to support these kinds of young people getting into university and, more importantly, staying there.
Because we can make these interviews anonymous and perform them anonymously, it frees people to talk about how we can improve, and that gives the adults a chance to talk back to the young people. And actually it's really important for the adults to do that as well, because they've seen the performance and they've been really moved and really touched by the performance, and they want to respond emotionally, and they want the young people to know that they're human. They have emotions too. The research can sometimes break down barriers, help young people and adults to see each other in different ways. And I think it's because of these different and new forms of dialogue that the research is creating.
And it's that kind of awareness that means that young people with experience of care might actually authentically think about putting university on their map. And just doing this, bringing them to university, telling them that we have care experienced staff and mentors, because that's amongst the team, makes a difference.
That's interesting. So there's specific mentors that will help with these students?
We've recruited them. I have a care background. So telling them that I'm a university lecturer with a PhD and I have a care background says something.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And they kind of go, oh, you can do that. Literally, you are allowed.
Just so interesting, if I see students in one-to-ones, which I see quite a lot of students, is there anything you think that folk from a care background, is there any extra questions I should be asking them, or anything I should be aware of, or anything that you feel like someone should have asked you? Or
I think it's a difficult one because there's a box on the UCAS form, and the only way in which the university can intervene is if a young person has ticked that box.
Sure.
If they haven't ticked that box, we can't do much, but the ones that have ticked the box, we can reach out to. It's how that reaching out is done.
So I grew up hoping one day that everything will be alright. And when I looked down the deep dark tunnel, I could see the light. So I kept my mind on my dreams and my missions, and I held on tight. And every day my dream got closer by the end of the night.